حسين يا مولاي.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق وأعز المرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصاب أبي عبد الله الحسين عليه السلام. We offer our condolences to the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman, Ajjallahu ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif, on this sad occasion. And on behalf of Imam Hussein Islamic Center, I would like to welcome you all to our Arba'een program. The day of Arba'een marks 40 days after the martyrdom of Imam Hussein alayhi salam on the plains of Karbala. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for making us among those who have been honored to remember and spread the message and the love of Hussein throughout every corner of the world. And inshallah one day we will be blessed with the invitation of being one of the Zuwar of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Inshallah tonight's program will begin with the recitation of the Holy Qu'ran by Sayyid Muhammad Ali Murtada, followed by Ziyarat Arba'een by Hajj Nasir Ra'di. Please welcome them with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم. نزل عليك الكتاب بالحق مصدقا لما بين يديه وأنزل التوراة والإنجيل من قبل هدى للناس وأنزل الفرقان. إن الذين كفروا بآيات الله لهم عذاب شديد والله عزيز ذو انتقام. إن الله لا يخفى عليه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء. هو الذي يصوركم في الأرحام كيف يشاء. لا إله إلا هو العزيز الحكيم. هو الذي أنزل عليك الكتاب منه آيات محكمات هن أم الكتاب وأخر متشابهات. فأما الذين في قلوبهم زيغ فيتبعون ما تشابه منه ابتغاء الفتنة وابتغاء تأويله وما يعلم تأويله إلا الله. والراسخون في العلم يقولون آمنا به كل من عند ربنا وما يذكر إلا أولو الألباب. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا إنك جامع الناس ليوم لا ريب فيه إن الله لا يخلف الميعاد. إن الذين كفروا لن تغني عنهم أموالهم ولا أولادهم من الله شيئا وأولئك هم وقود النار كداب آل فرعون والذين من قبلهم كذبوا بآياتنا فأخذهم الله بذنوبهم والله شديد العقاب. قل الذين كفروا ستغلبون وتحشرون إلى جهنم وبئس المهاد. صدق الله العلي العظيم. أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد.
أزور سيدي ومولاي ومعتمدي ورجاي صالة عن نفسي ونيابة عن والدي ووالدتي وأخواني وأخواتي وأصدقائي وأولادي وأبنائي ومن قلدني الدعاء والزيارة. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. أزور سيدي ومولاي زيارة الأربعين صالة عن نفسي ونيابة عن والدي ومن قلدني الدعاء والزيارة. السلام على ولي الله وحبيبه. السلام على خليل الله ونجيبه. السلام على صفي الله وابن صفيه. السلام على الحسين المظلوم الشهيد. السلام على سير الكربات وقتيل العبرات. اللهم إني أشهد أنه وليك هو ابن وليك هو صفيك وابن صفيك الفائز بكرامتك. أكرمته بالشهادة وحبوته بالسعادة واجتبيته بطيب الولادة وجعلته
سيدا من السادة، هو قائدا من القادة، وذائدا من الذادة، وأعطيته مواريث الأنبياء، وجعلته حجة على خلقك من الأوصياء، فاعذر بالدعاء ومنح الناس، هو بذل مهجته فيك ليستنقذ عبادك من الجهالة وخيرة الضلالة، وقد توازر عليه من غرته الدنيا، وباع حظه بالأرض للأدنى، وشرى آخرته بالثمن الأوكاس، وتغطرس وتردى في هواه، وأسخط نبيك، وأطاع من عبادك أهل الشقاق والنفاق وحملة الأوزار المستوجبين النار، فجاهدهم فيك صابرا محتسبا، حتى سفك في طاعتك دمه، واستبيح حريمه. اللهم فلعنهم لعنا وبيلا، وعذبهم عذابا أليما. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك يا ابن سيد الأوصياء، أشهد أنك أمين الله هو ابن أمينه، عشت سعيدا ومضيت حميدا، ومت فقيدا مظلوما شهيدا، وأشهد أن الله منجز ما وعدك، ومهلك من خذلك، ومعذب من قتلك، وأشهد أنك وفيت بعهد الله، وجاهدت في سبيله حتى أتاك اليقين، فلعن الله من قتلك، ولعن الله من ظلمك، ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. اللهم إني أشهدك إني ولي لمن والاه، وعدو لمن عاداه. بأبي أنت وأمي يا ابن رسول الله، أشهد أنك كنت نوراً في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة، لم تنجسك الجاهلية بأنجاسها، ولم تلبسك المدلهمات من ثيابها، وأشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين ومعقل المؤمنين، وأشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرضي الزكي الهادي المهدي، وأشهد أن الأئمة من ولدك كلمة التقوى وأعلام الهدى والعروة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا، وأشهد أني بكم مؤمن وبإيابكم موقن بشرائع ديني وخواتيم عملي، وقلبي لقلبكم سال وأمري لأمركم متبع ونصرتي لكم معدة حتى يأذن الله لكم، فمعكم لا مع عدوكم. صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وأجسادكم وشاهدكم وغائبكم وظاهركم وباطنكم، آمين يا رب العالمين. السلام عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله. All together. السلام على الحسين، السلام على الحسين، السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين، ورحمة الله وبركاته. صلوات.
Thank you, Sayyid and Hajj, for that beautiful recitation. Please recite for them aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I'd just like to go over some quick announcements for tonight. Please keep your phones on silent throughout the program. Ensure no cars are parked illegally, and we are respecting our neighbors by not blocking their driveways. Oh, that reminds me, there's a Mercedes parked out front on the grass. If anybody owns that car, can you please move it? Thank you. No loitering in reception. Please sit as close to the front as possible to allow others arriving later in the program a place to sit. It would be highly appreciated if you can please prioritize the chairs for the elderly or those with medical conditions. A reminder of IHIC's usual weekly programs include Tuesday Du'a Tawassul, Thursday Tafsir al-Qu'ran and Du'a Qumail, Friday prayers and the Friday night program, Saturday school, the Sunday youth program, where every second Sunday is the program for the young brothers, and every alternate Sunday is for the young sisters. Please don't forget to use these nights to donate generously to help with the cost and maintenance of Imam Hussein Islamic Center. Donation buckets will be going around throughout the lecture. You can pay by cash or by card. Kindly, if parents can also assist with their children by accompanying them throughout the program to minimize disruption and to ensure our programs are run as efficiently as possible. There will also be classes for children aged 4 years and up upstairs, so if parents can please take their children up to those classes for them to benefit, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I would like to call up Hajj Abid Ali, who has an exciting book announcement, inshallah. Please welcome him with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا بأبا عبد الله. We are gathered here to commemorate the 40th of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, and I'm sure all of you, I'm certain of this, in fact, wishes that they were walking between Najaf and Karbala tonight and meeting Imam Hussein in the Haram in Karbala tonight. But inshallah, we get this opportunity in the future to be able to do this. Now, the book that we're launching tonight, inshallah, is a book especially for kids, for children. And this book is quite unique and quite different from many other books that you might find about the story of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. It is actually using a hadith from the Holy Prophet to introduce Imam Hussein alayhi salam to young children. His character, the kind of person he was, such that he was not just a person because of Karbala that we are attracted to him. He had an electric personality. He had an attractive personality, such that everyone around the world is attracted to not only what he stood for, but also who he was as a human being. And this is a unique book that kind of explains this in a beautiful way. Especially for children. So this is the first one, inshallah, we're launching tonight. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The second one is relatively quick. Is the fifth part of a 6-part series of the prophets of Islam, the Ulul Azm prophets of Islam. So this book is also quite unique in that it's actually taking the verses of the Holy Quran directly and explaining what happened to the story of the Prophet, and looking at it in a very different perspective as well. So inshallah, these books will be available outside. Purchase them for your children, for your families, inshallah, so that we can connect to our faith more in these holy nights. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome to the Imam Hussein Islamic Center, and sorry, I've got to do my usual introduction and say that it is definitely an honor, a privilege and a pleasure to host everybody here this evening, especially for this program of Arba'een. We are indeed blessed to be able to hold these types of programs without any issues and without any hindrance, especially when we compare ourselves to other places in the world where people find it difficult simply to A, exist, or B, to go beyond that and just to hold on to their Shia faith, if any faith at all. If you recall, on the day of Ashura, we launched a program for the 40 Shuhada. We began Muharram with a program for fundraising in the name and the honor of the 72 Shuhada, and on Ashura, we targeted it down to 40 Shuhada, or sponsorships or pledges in the name and the honor of 40 Shuhada. Now, I wanted to give everybody an update on that program so that you can see what the progress is and how things are going and where we've reached. And inshallah, we can also bring this program to a conclusion as well, hopefully, in the next, if not tonight, then the next couple of nights as well. So out of the 40 Shuhada that we launched, and we had the opportunity for people to take a card in their name, we have, out of the 40, we have 36 committed. So we have 36 out of the 40 with people having committed in their name. So as a reminder, that program is $1,000 per name, or so a total of, inshallah, raising $40,000. And that fundraising is to go to some major works, especially to do with the plumbing and some of the other maintenance, big maintenance project around the center. And as we finalize the funds and as we finalize the plans for it, inshallah, we share in detail exactly what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, inshallah. Of course, none of this without your support and your assistance, and definitely with your input and feedback as well. So out of those 36 that have been committed, we have 25 that are fully paid. So out of $36,000 that have been committed to, $25,000 is fully paid up to date tonight. Can I request that we give the reward of a salawat to all of those people who've not only committed, but have also paid up fully tonight? Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Now the remaining, out of the remaining, I think that leaves 11, which is currently outstanding out of the 36. We have some people who have very graciously offered to go on a payment plan. They don't want to miss the opportunity to be able to contribute as a sadaqah jariyah towards the center and the community. So they've elected to go on a payment plan, and that could be any amount per month, right, or over a short period of time. So out of that payment plan, we've collected $1,700 with, if my maths is awfully incorrect, we're around $9,300 short in collecting on those existing commitments. In addition to that, there's still the 4,000 or the 4 shuhada that are currently uncommitted towards. And for anybody who missed out on the day of Ashura, you do have the opportunity tonight and over the next couple of nights, inshallah, to make that commitment to be able to pledge in honor of the 40 shuhada for that $1,000. And it's perfectly all right to be able to do that over a period of time. So again, inshallah, we can raise that or commit to the last 4 names that we have remaining, and that's $4,000. And you can take that opportunity to also go onto a payment plan of sorts, and we can have this project kicked off, and the details then of the project and everything itself then presented to you in due course once we have that finalized as well. If you have any questions at all about any commitments that have been made or paid up already, or anything to do with the program whatsoever, please see myself, Sister Farzan, Brother Reza, Brother Ali Lagai, any one of us. We're more than willing to have a chat with you and explain what the program is, or even take your pledge and your commitment, inshallah, as well. Like I said, it can be paid over a period of time, but of course, don't leave it too long. And it is a sadaqah jariyah. It is going towards the works and the building and the maintenance of the center. And that, inshallah, will continue to pay you rewards well after we have departed this world. With that, I request a salawat and Sayyid Ahmad to continue on. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam says, there is none who recites poetry about Hussein alayhi salam and weeps and makes others weep by it, except Allah makes paradise incumbent upon him and forgives his sins. I would like to call up Brother Zak Alawi to recite some verses of poetry. Please recite aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. People say time heals all wounds. They've never heard of your tragedy. We gather after 40 days and remember you lying on that desert plain. We remember how you called for help but lay deserted, slain. Dead heads on spears. Zainab's eyes filled with tears, Zainab's heart filled with tears. Women and children veilless and changed. Hussein and his companions are dead now. Their children have been orphaned. Animals drank from the water from the Euphrates, but the family of Rasulullah didn't receive any portion. Instead, the animals whipped them and threw them on bare camels. When people stopped forbidding evil, the honorable are treated worse than animals. From Karbala to the streets of Kufa, to the dungeons in Sham, Yazid's army tortured the caravan, trying to extinguish the light of Islam. Sawkina slept on the cold floor, crying as men beat her imam. Death from intense grief overtook some of the women, the others marched on. My condolences on what took place after you, O Hussein. Time separated us and distance disdained us, but we are with you, O Hussein. But are we really with you? Or is this another promise unfulfilled? Plenty of empty slogans were expressed in thousands of letters, leading you to be killed. If the morning prayer passes, why I stay through this responsibility? How am I with you, O Hussein? Legends of the heavens took arrows well beyond their death to protect their prayer, O Hussein. If I curse, backbite and slander the believers, how am I with you, O Hussein? You refrain from such behavior, but your killers indulged in it, O Hussein. If I don't observe patience and swallow my anger, how am I with you, O Hussein? Lessons unapplied will surely lead to my demise if I am not careful, O Hussein. Your head on a spear recited verses of the Qu'ran. Our head intact, do we often neglect the Holy Quran? Is our purpose to strive for material gain, or to strive for Islam. We see people acquiring their worldly desires, but we don't see our Imam. I ask Allah to hasten the reappearance so that we may event Ashura, but maybe Allah is waiting for something genuine instead of the letters from Kufa. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Thank Brother Zach for that beautiful recitation. For the well-being and the quick reappearance of Imam al-Hujjah, please recite aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam said while speaking about the Zuwar, the visitors of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he, Imam Hussein, sees those who come to his shrine and he knows them by their names, their fathers' names and their ranks in the eyes of Allah, the Mighty, the Glorious, better than you know your own children. Inshallah, we will begin the main lecture this evening by our esteemed scholar, Sheikh Mohammed Mehdi, which will be followed by a Majlis by Brother Ali Mustajab al-Da'wah. Please recite 3 loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بفضل الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله والحمد حقه كما يستحقه حمدا كثيرا الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله اللهم لعن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك اللهم لعن العصابة التي جاهدت الحسين وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله اللهم لعنهم جميعا ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلق الله أجمعين محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. Tonight we are gathered to commemorate the night of the 40th of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, which is on the date of the 20th of Safar that we commemorate this commemoration. And as we reach this night, we see that Imam Hussein alayhi salam continues to give to the righteous, and he continues to be a thorn that's there for all the iniquitous and all those, even those within, those that claim to be followers of Imam Hussein, even them, they find this occasion another problem for them. And they'll get up and they'll speak about it. And they'll make it as loud as possible for people to hear. The problem with the ones that have issues with this day is they will speak to the common man. And they'll make sure that their discussion is not amongst scholars, but they speak to whoever will listen to them on Facebook or on YouTube or even in their little house on the prairie or wherever they're living, or some ghetto, and they get the riffraff to surround them, and they feel like a form of position that they have and status above those that listen to them, as the saying goes, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Do you ever in your life hear of an academic that makes research and writes his journals for the laity? You know, honestly, if you want access to journals in a university, can anyone just go on Google? You know, the ulama of Google, the ones that Google everything, give people a response. You know, the ones that diagnose when they go see a doctor, they think, oh, I think it's a viral infection. What do you say, doc? You know, the ones that walk in and they want to tell you your profession. The people that walk in, do you think these people have access to these journals and research? No. Because when someone writes research, he doesn't want someone to critique it that doesn't understand the fundamentals of their study. That this person spent all these years in university, has written a thesis on something, and then someone that just began learning the ABCs wants to critique them. That's an insult. So if someone puts their research out for everyone to read and out for the general public, it's because it has no metal, it has no value whatsoever. And another way to bring or cause chaos amongst the commoners is to mention what? Oh, this hadith is da'if. Have you heard when people say, this hadith is weak? I'll tell you right now, I'm not an expert in hadith. Not even close. That's to give you an idea. I don't understand hadith. I actually turn to our ulama, the ones that explain our hadith to us. The ulama, the ones that tell us the sanad, the ones that have this expertise in telling you the chain and the narrators. And someone that doesn't know even how to buckle his shoes will tell you this narration is weak. You know? I think the only thing that's weak is your faith. You know, they used to call him in Christianity the doubting Thomas. When you mention something, they always have something to question about it, something that's wrong. They ridicule the hadith. And I've heard this often. People ridicule hadith. I've heard one person once say, I'm wearing a turban, mind you, but I didn't let it go. At the time, I wasn't wearing a turban, but I gave him a piece of my mind. Because I would only accept for someone to say this. He said, they say at the end of times, Imam al-Hujjah will bring out the enemies of God from their graves. This is the... I don't like to say this, but this is what he said. He said, what does he come on an excavator and dig them up? To ridicule the hadith. If you have no idea, if this person's an imbecile and does not fathom the hadith, then let him put it aside for people that do understand it. Now, what I'm going to tell you is, the problem is, when you mention these people and what they do, they respond and say, look, they're attacking us. But they're the ones that we have a saying in Lebanese, and the Syrians say this. I don't know if there's something that's similar in other Arabic dialects, but they say, darabni ubaka, sabatni ushtaka. Means he hit me and he started crying, and he ran and dobbed on me first. You know, he went and, you know, this happens between siblings. You get into a fight, and the instigator or the aggressor is the one that always snitches. The one that dobs first, and he gets first dibs, you know, so you're the one that's going to get the hiding because he beat you to it. And this is the problem that's happened here. When you mention, they say, look, the people are attacking us, we are innocent. You're not innocent. You start the fire, and when someone responds to put out the fire, you get protective. So let's look at this. What is our duty? Our duty is to follow what? Our ulama, our fuqaha. So what do the ulama say about this? If these people say that they are being targeted, now let's just look at what the ulama say. The opinions I'm going to give you of two ulama when it comes to the Yawm al-Arba'een. So you don't sit there and listen to people. I will be addressing all the points, But so you don't sit there and listen to what people say without understanding. As-Sayyid al-Sistani, he's asked the su'al, it says, ينقل البعض بأن زيارة الأربعين للإمام الحسين عليه السلام غير ثابتة فما هو رأي سماحتكم. So the first question that someone's asked Sayyid Sistani, that some people will say, al-Ba'd, that the ziyarah of the Arba'een is not thabita, which means what? If something's thabit, it's something that's accepted and something that's true. It's something that's firm. He said, what do you say about these people? What is your opinion? Because he's the alim. So it says, listen to the response from the Sayyid. The response, he says, is la yusgha. You know what la yusgha means? When you say, if someone sagali, it means someone took heed to what I'm saying. Someone paid attention to me. Someone listened to me. La yusgha means do not listen to these people. In fact, ignore them. La yusgha ila ma yunqil bihada ash-sha'n. If someone speaks in this manner, don't even listen to them. Don't pay attention to this pauper. Don't give him time. This person is petty. Don't give them any time whatsoever. Don't waste your time listening, because the Sayyid, he says, they're not even worthy to pay attention to. They're not even worthy to listen to. The other opinion, now the reason I've picked these two ulama, because they are the peak of the houses that they teach in. Or Sayyid Sistani, when it comes to Hawzat al-Najaf, he's known as the top there. He's acknowledged in that position at the time. Now his sons are teaching, but at that time. In Qam al-Muqaddasa, the Za'im of the Hawza there, the head of the Hawza there, is Sheikh Hussein Wahid al-Khurasani. And anyone you ask, there's unanimity about this. Everyone accepts this and agrees with it. If you mention to anybody, Sheikh al-Khurasani, everyone knows him. Many people have studied with him. He says this, فَلَا يُدْرِكِ الْأَرْبَعِينَ وَلَا يَفْهَمْ عَظَمَتِهِ. That no one, when we say idrak, no one can understand or fathom the Arba'een or understand its greatness, except, he said, إِلَّا مَنْ أَدْرَكَ الْحَدِيث الصحيح السند, except the one that understands the hadith that is sahih السند. He says that has an authentic chain. الذي لا يتوانى مثل الشيخ الأنصاري. What is he talking about? Sheikh al-Ansari, he's talking about Sheikh Murtada al-Ansari, the alim that was around in the 18th century. And he was around from the end of the 1700s to the beginning of the 1800s. He's talking about, when we talk about Sheikh Murtada al-Ansari, you're talking about the author of Al-Makasib and the author of Rasail, the books that are studied in Al-Hawza al-Ilmiya. You're talking about this grand alim. He says that this alim al-Ansari, an al-Ifta, that he says, لا يتوانى مثل الشيخ الأنصاري عن الإفتاء طبقا لسنده. So when we're talking, even you're talking about Sheikh al-Ansari, didn't even hesitate, didn't even question the position of this. And then he says, وَهُوَ, what hadith is he talking about? He says, وَهُوَ الْحَدِيثُ الَّذِي يُصَرِّحْ فِيهِ حُجَّةُ اللَّهِ عَلَى الْعِبَادِ عليه السلام, Imam al-Askari is talking about, بِأَنَّ زِيَارَةَ الْأَرْبَعِينَ مِنْ عَلَامَاتِ الْمُؤْمِنَ الْخَمْسَةِ. You know the hadith where Imam al-Askari says the signs of a believer are 5. The 51 rak'ah prayer, the rubbing of the earth on your head when you're prostrate, moving from side to side, the wearing the ring in the right hand, okay, and to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in a loud voice in prayer. And the last one is Ziyarat al-Arba'een. Sheikh Wahid al-Khurasani says that Sheikh al-Ansari does not even hesitate when it comes to the authenticity of this narration. But then people come around and say, hold on, Ziyarat al-Arba'een doesn't mean visiting Imam Hussein, it means visiting 40 mu'mineen. They have to make an attack because it has to do with Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, everyone from the day where he was martyred onwards has to question the station of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. So do not listen to your TikTok and paper scholars. Listen to our fuqaha, the jurists, the ones that have that station and that position. Whoever preaches in this manner, then you know that you're listening to something that is authentic. Let's look at the word ziyarah. We'll be addressing over the nights the other questionable things that people bring up, but let's take a look at the word ziyarah. And this comes from the root word, it comes from a root word with 3 letters that has zain, that has waw, and that has ra. And generally with this word, you sometimes see the zain and the waw and the ra, and you hear the word zur. You know, when someone gives a false testimony, we go shahid zur, or qawl zur, as the Quran says. So then someone that is giving what? Is giving a false testimony. So what does that mean if someone uses this word? It means if someone adal, or, when we say كذب العادلون بالله, what does that mean, كذب العادلون بالله? Someone adal, it means that someone that diverged or deviated from one thing to another. Or muyul, as we say, mail. If someone mail from one thing to another. So zur is someone that moves from what? The truth to falsehood, in this sense. That he moves from one thing to another. That's why we call someone that a counterfeiter, someone that does counterfeit, what do we call him? Muzawwir. Because he changes something from being a true document into a false document. Now, why do we use the term zar when someone visits someone? If I said zurtu fulan, if I went and visited some person, zurtuka, I went and visited you. What does that mean? Why would God use, or why would, the Arabic people, the Arabic language use the word to begin with, because we'll get to what God uses. Why would they use this word? Because it means I zurtuka, it means instead of going about my normal routine, my daily routine, instead I diverged and I visited you. That's why it's called zurtu. That I visited you, I diverged from my regular way. So that's why it's called a ziyarah and a visit. Allah gives several examples in the Quran with this word, where we use this word. In the verse in Surah Al-Kahf, when speaking about Ashab Al-Kahf, it says, وَتَرَى الشَّمْسَ إِذَا طَلَعَتْ تَزَاوَرْ عَنْ كَهْفِهِمْ. Now, when the sun rose, it says, tazawar, that it diverged away from the cave, that it was where it was and it moved. Instead of being there, it became in another position altogether. So it shows you that something diverges from where it originally was, or where it was there to start. But also Allah uses this when He mentions visiting the graves. our narrations called a ziyarah? Why is it we say Ziyarat al-Qubur? When you go there and you're going ziyarah, think about this. Think about the people going to ziyarah right now. They have their businesses running. Some of them have left their families. They went over there. They're not going for a business vacation. Even the people that have mawakib, even the people that are feeding people. It's not like, oh, I've got to get, it's not like it's the Easter show when I need to get the best stall to make the best money. Or I need to get the best positioning. My shop has to be in the right place. Everyone goes there to serve. It's a trip that's completely for the hereafter. That I'm not there for a business deal. I'm not there to, for example, get there and buy those green cloths and come back and sell them in Australia, or get the turban and sell it back in Australia. I'm there for one purpose, that it's where you diverge from your daily life and the way that you act, and you turn Tazur Qubur al-Imam alayhi salam. You visit the graves of the Imams. Question that comes up here is this ziyarah. What is the benefit of it? What is the purpose? We always get called grave worshippers. You people always tell you, the Shia are the grave worshippers. They pray on a rock. They do this. They always get called grave worshippers. You always get put in this position. It's funny, in September the 24th, they're going to worship a hair that was bought from Turkey that they say might be the Prophet's hair. These Turks have got this in a glass, a hair that they say is the Prophet's hair. And they're bringing it here. And we are actually visiting the Prophet's grandson. The Prophet's grandson is in Karbala. Everyone knows that. And this is shirk. But going to see in Homebush, I think on September the 24th, how long from now? It's about 18 days. They've got people are booked out to go see a tube that they're going to bring that they say has the hair of the Prophet. But this isn't shirk, except visiting the grave of Imam Hussein is. What is the benefit of visiting the grave? Number one, it is the corroboration to the greatness of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And this is natural. Every nation, every religion, every race agrees on reviving the remembrance of their heroes and their champions and their legends. You live in Australia, Anzac Day, 25th of April, what do they say? Lest we forget. They remember that. In case you forgot, on the 11th of November is Remembrance Day. For you to remember, what do you remember? You remember, they tell you remember all the diggers that gave their lives fighting. This is what the remembrance is. That's what they have, all these war memorials, because the foundations of a nation is based on this. The reality of it is we were duped by the British and had our soldiers sent into these trenches and killed for a war that we had nothing to do with. But you just take it as it's given. Or if you, like the Americans, I think they have something more to celebrate, the independence of the British. That was a proper war where they actually fought. In 1776 they had their freedom, and that's when they believed the whole world began. Before that, nothing else existed. So the thing is, there's days where they have remembrance, even in Christianity. What's the point of Easter? Easter is considered the ultimate sacrifice that they believe, the day that God came down on earth. Nastajiru billah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. In case some angel hears the wrong thing for a second. So it's a day where they believe that God came down on earth to die for people's sins, so they have it as a day where they remember. Christmas is the day where it was the birth of this of their God. This is what they have. Their days where they remember these events and these things. And you might think, hold on, everyone has it. What about the Wahhabis? Yes, the Wahhabis have Abd al-Wahhab week. It's a week where they actually remember Muhammad ibn Abd al-Wahhab. You can look this up. It's a day where they sit there and remember him. Isn't this shirk? No, it's okay. First thing I saw when I first went to Lebanon, I never forgot this. When I first went to Lebanon, wherever I went, there was an image on the wall. And I was thinking, what is it? Of a guy with a beard, and there was a 5-pointed star, and he was wearing a beret. And then I hadn't been introduced yet to Ernesto Che Guevara. But I'd see it everywhere. Che Guevara was something big because socialism had hit the Middle East and everyone thought it was the way out. But you look, people remember Che Guevara. There's people that remember him. No, we're not talking about whether these people are righteous or not. I'm just saying that if someone likes him, even if you take a look now, others have been remembered in a certain way. All the rebels, the people that resist authority, who's the figure they always bring up and remember? Guy Fawkes. Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder plot. Guy Fawkes was a person that tried to blow up British Parliament, yet his mask is worn by who? Anyone that wants to be an opposition to authority. So everyone has some kind. It is normal for people to remember whether these people are righteous or not. Howbeit, if someone is the symbol of freedom, the symbol of sacrifice, the symbol of resistance, the symbol of what? Of all the basic human needs and rights that we have and we neglect. And that is Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam. So the first benefit is you are making noise. You are making the world hear, even though they're trying to be deaf about it. No one wants to hear. No one wants to hear. Someone sent me an image today, and it said if a group of the Rainbow Crew were to have a little rally somewhere, he said if they were, and it'll be all over the news, it'll be plastered everywhere, if there's a few hundred. There's over 20 million people going to Karbala. No one talks about it. No one even mentions it. Think about that. So I'm there, I'm saying, Labbaika ya Hussein. I'm there answering that call. Even you that are present here, you that are present on this day to commemorate this. You know how important it is? When you enter anywhere, you enter the Husseiniya, there's taqdees for this place. There's value because this is a house that's made for the remembrance of God. The purpose of this, that you've come here to spend your night here. A lot of people, you try and get a friend to come out on one night. No one's bothered. Everyone's now glued to their homes because of electronics. They've got some new show to binge or got something else to do, or some people are working a back shift or something like that. But you've come here and you've attended. You've sacrificed to attend this majlis. The second thing is the consciousness and the affection, which is pivotal in humanity. You know, every love story, it's about a lover that wants to be with their beloved. Every love story. And you can sit there and look at it. Every tragedy is about their longing to be with their beloved. Whether you look at Romeo and Juliet, that's the whole story. The tragedy of Romeo and Juliet is because this guy, Romeo, wanted to be Juliet, Juliet wanted to be Romeo. Another story that the people in the Middle East are more affiliated with, which was, I think, it predates Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, I think Romeo and Juliet was stolen from it somehow. But there must have been an original story, beginning with the story of Qais and Layla, which they call him Majnun and Layla, because he went mad for his love for Layla. There's always something about someone and having this affection and this love that's instilled. Now, This is the object of affection. Your object of love is Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. And this is all the Zair is thinking about. You never ever hear someone have you ever seen someone being interviewed? And they ask him, why are you doing the Ziyarah? Have you heard someone say, I'm here to get this much reward for each step? Have you ever heard anyone say that? Never. No one ever says, I'm here for this. No one ever says. تبكيك عيني لا لأجل مثوبة لكنما عيني لأجلك باكية. My eye cries over you, not for reward. It's for you. It's love. The hadith this hadith is narrated from Imam al-Sadiq, from his father, and from his father, Ali ibn al-Hussein. He says, قال رسول الله. It's a long hadith, I'm just going to get a bit from it. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله لعلي بن أبي طالب عليه السلام. Rasulullah said to Amir al-Mu'mineen, إن الله تعالى جعل قلوب نجباء من خلقه وصفوة من عبادته. That Allah is the cause of this. Made the heart of these select few, the selected people. He says, تحنوا إليكم. You notice there's those that love Rasulullah and Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhim as-salam, and there's those that hate Amir al-Mu'mineen. They detest Amir al-Mu'mineen. If you mention a fadila of Ali ibn Abi Talib, a virtue, they get upset. They cringe. You know, when you mention Ali, they get upset. To the point where they don't even remember him in any of his virtues. Instead, they've given all his virtues to other than him. تَحِنُّ إِلَيْكُمْ وَتَتَحَمَّلْ. Listen to this. Not only do they have this emotional attachment, affection to you, it says, وَتَتَحَمَّلْ الْمَذَلَّةَ وَالْأَذَى فِيكُمْ. This love for the A'immah, that you absorb what? Madalla. That people always put you down. How many times do they say things about you? You hear this all the time. You know, 100 times you've seen a sport where someone says, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And no one will ever message anything about them. One day, a fighter at the end of the fight, you know what he said? He said, Ya Allah, Ya Muhammad, Ya Ali. And every Wahhabi, every Nasibi under the planet wrote what? This guy is a kafir. He's not a Muslim. He has nothing to do. The attack is in me. The second they hear the word Ali, because the word Ali affects people. It affects people. Either makes someone fly when they hear it, or either makes someone die inside when they hear it. It affects them. And people accept it. To look at us, for example. If someone called you Haydari, you say, yes, I'm Haydari. Husseini, I'm Hussein. Hassani, I'm Hassani. Ja'fari, you say, I'm Ja'fari. He calls you Rafidi, I'm Rafidi. Whatever you want. Does that mean I love Ali ibn Abi Talib? I accept it. You go to a person that's against you, name them by who they actually follow. They get upset. Because they know. Whereas we have pride in this. He says, تَتَحَمَّلُ الْمَذَلَّةِ. This is on Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. وَالْأَذَى. He's saying this to Amir al-Mu'mineen. فِيكُمْ فَيَعْمُرُونَ قُبُورَكُمْ. Okay? He's talking about the imam, that the people will يَعْمُرُونَ. What does يَعْمُرُونَ mean? You know, when you see the verse that says about those that believe in God, يَعْمُرُونَ what? Masajid Allah. What does that mean? That they frequent them. They come to them. They attend them. So he says, look at this. فَيَعْمُرُونَ قُبُورَكُمْ. He doesn't say masajid. They come to your graves, Rasulullah says. وَيُكْثِرُونَ زِيَارَتَهَا. Have you ever heard someone that say, listen, I've been to Ziyarah, I'm not going to go again. People want to go again and again. And when they miss out, they feel terrible. Sometimes people put up their pictures in Ziyarah. I've got a friend, he lives in Mashhad. And this guy, he's been like to Umrah 6 times. Every munasab in Sha'ban, he says, I did dua for you and Amir al-Mu'mineen. I did dua. And I tell him, you know what? I feel like abusing you sometimes. You're always there. You are so fortunate. And where am I? I'm going to go visit the opera house and tell you, ذكرتك هونيك. Where? You go, you're going to somewhere where the heart yearns to go. This is what we're talking about, the love. يكثرون زيارتها تقربا منهم إلى الله. Because they want to be close to God. They want proximity to God. How? How do you get proximity to God? And Rasulullah says, أحب الله من أحب حسين. So the more you love Imam Hussein, the more you love Allah. This is a hadith, Sunni and Shia. I don't think it's a Shia exclusive hadith. So whoever loves Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the more you love him, the more you love Allah. So they want to get closer to God, so they love Imam Hussein even more. And then he says, وَمَوَدَّةً مِّنْهُمْ لِرَسُولِهِ. They love for Rasulullah. They know Rasulullah loves Imam Hussein with intensity. Yeah, there's people who are around. They said, Ya Rasulullah, أراك كأنك تحب الحسين. The narration was talking about that Imam Hussein had walked in. I think he had fallen over. It was Khutbah the Jummah, the exact source. I don't remember, but he had picked him up and he kissed him, and Imam Hussein was a child. Sometimes when you see someone with their child, mabhoush, how you sometimes say, oh, this guy, it's as if no one had given a birth yet. He's the first one to have a child. When you see someone so in love with someone. So this guy was trying to say this to the Prophet. كأنك تحب الحسين. I think you're a bit excessive with your love for Imam Hussein. This is nepotism. This is because it's your son. And the Prophet said, كيف لا أحب الحسين? How can I not love Hussein? وإن الله يحب من أحب حسين. Allah loves who? Whoever loves Imam Hussein. You imagine this, you hear the hadith that Allah loves His messenger. Rasulullah is Habibullah. Isn't that right? Allah makes you, the one that attends the Majlis, Habibullah. You are someone Allah loves because you love Imam Hussein. Allah loves you because you love Imam Hussein. Do you imagine this? To have this position. I'll finish off with one more hadith, and inshallah we continue the discussion in the following nights. Another thing that we mentioned, because we are talking about the driving force for us, the benefit of the Hajj, the driving force is love. Imam al-Rida alayhi salam says, Inna li kulli imaman ahdan fi unuqi awliya'ih wa shi'atih. That in the neck, when we say in someone's neck, what does that mean? In their debt. We have a debt with our Imam, because we have made an agreement with our Imam. When we have given allegiance to our Imam, we have made a debt. We're indebted to them. That our covenant with the Imam is what? That the ones that consider themselves to be followers of the Imam, how do we fulfill this covenant? There's many things you can do to fulfill the covenant. Uphold the law, pray on your prayers, fast, do what's righteous, don't lie, don't steal. But then the Imam says, وَإِنَّ مِن تَمَامِ الْوَفَاءِ بِالْعَهْدِ وَحُسْنِ الْأَدَاءِ. If you want to have the completion of this covenant, you want to perfect it the best you can do. Okay. And the best way that you can fulfill this ahd with your Imam, this covenant, this agreement with your Imam, he says, زِيَارَةَ قُبُورِهِمْ, is to visit their graves. People think, I'm going to a grave, yeah. Do you think people just stop and head in this direction for no reason? Love. فَمَنْ زَارَهُمْ رَغْبَةً فِي زِيَارَتِهِمْ. The Imam al-Rida alayhi salam says, whoever visits them, they have this raghbah. And when we say someone has this when we say someone raghib something, they desire it, they love it. That they want it, they want, this is what they get satiated with. This, you think about this. It's like when someone thinks fulfilling one of your desires is fulfilling. And then you compare it to when you reach a shrine. I swear. Ask anyone that's visited the shrine. You visit a shrine, there's nothing someone can tell you to come outside for other than here. You think you're here, that's it. I don't want to be anywhere else. I don't want anything. I remember one of the poems in Persian that's read in the Latmiya. He says, Goli bustan ne mikham, khayme mawlaya mikham. I don't want the gardens, in paradise. I don't want this. I want to be in the tent of my master. I want to be with Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. That's where I want to be. There's nothing you can give me. Nothing. There's nothing. I don't want anything else. There's nothing of value at all. So the driving force is love. Love of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. I'll leave the dua for Samahat al-Sayyid to read the Majlis and the dua. رحم الله من قرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة مسبوقة بالصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. After the great tragedy of Karbala, the Ahl Bayt of Imam Hussein and the family of the Prophet were taken disrespectfully as captive. They were chained in a very harsh way. They took them from a city to another, from Kufa towards Sham. They dealt so harshly with the family of the Prophet that alongside this whole long journey, many of the daughters of Imam Hussein passed away. And then in the city of Sham, they disrespected the Ahlul Bayt so bad that when they asked Imam Sajjad alongside this whole tragedy, which of these events came very hard upon you, O son of the Prophet? Imam Sajjad did not say they slaughtered my father. Imam Sajjad did not say they killed my brother. Imam Sajjad did not say they killed my uncle. But he said 3 times, Asham, Asham, Asham. They treated the family of the Prophet as slaves, and they disrespected them until Sayyida Zainab and her nephew Imam Zainul Abidin gave a very victorious sermon in front of Yazid. Yazid found himself that he has lost this battle, and he was defeated in front of Imam Hussein. He faced Imam Sajjad. He said, Ya Ali ibn al-Hussein, Malak, what do you want? I will give you. I will return you respectfully to your city, Medina. Imam Sajjad said, we do not have any need to your worldly materials, just among the stuff that were looted from our family. First of all, there was a veil that belonged to my mother, Fatima Zahra. Tell your army they stole that from us. Tell them to return it to us. And Imam Sajjad mentioned another stuff. But at last he mentioned, Oh Yazid, give us back the head of my father, Imam Hussein. I want to bury it alongside his body in Karbala. Yazid said, the head of your father, I am not going to return that to you. So the head of Imam Hussein was in Sham for a long time, until a group of Shia stole it and buried it next to the grave of Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi alayhi. They returned the family of Ahlul Bayt respectfully towards Medina. According to one narration, alongside this journey, they told the caravans, take us to the land of Karbala. We want to mourn for our family. According to this narration, on the 20th of Safar, the family of Ahlul Bayt reached the land of Karbala. Alongside this journey, Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari as well reached the land of Karbala on this day. Atiyah bin Sa'd was a student of Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari. Jabir ibn Abdullah was a very close companion of the Prophet. When he had heard the news of Karbala in Medina, he told his student, I am going to go to Karbala. Will you accompany me along this journey? Atiyah narrates, when we reached the land of Karbala, Jabir told me I want to perform ghusl in the Furat, and then I want to do Ziyarat to my master Hussein. Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari performed his ghusl, he told Atiyah, take me to the grave of my master Hussein. Atiyah narrates, ثم مشى حافيا ولم يخط خطوة إلا ذكر الله. Alongside his walk, he was walking barefoot towards the grave of Imam Hussein. حتى إذا دنا من القبر, when we reached the grave of Imam Hussein, he said, يا عطية ألمسني, put my hand on the grave of my master. Jabir put his hand on the grave of Imam Hussein. He dropped and fainted. I could imagine when he touched the grave of Imam Hussein, he remembered all the tragedies that happened on this land. This is the land where they slaughtered the son of the Prophet. This is the land where they slaughtered Ali al-Akbar. This is the land where they killed the newborn of Imam Hussein. رحم الله من نادى وحسينا. عطية narrates, فرششت عليه شيئا من الماء. Then I sprayed a little bit of water on Jabir's face. Then he became conscious. قال يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين ثلاثة. يا حسين. ثم قال حبيب لا يجيب حبيبه. I am calling towards a loved one, but I cannot hear his answer. Then he said, وأنى لك بالجواب وقد شحتت أوداجك على أثباجك وفرق بين بدنك وراسك. How could you answer me, O Master, after they ripped the veins of your throat over your chest and they separated between your head and your body? Then he started reading the Ziyarat. Assalamu alaikum ya al Allah. Brothers and sisters, Karbala is not just the grave of Imam Hussein, it is the graveyard of Bani Hashim. It is the graveyard of the sons of Amir al-Mu'mineen and the sons of Ja'far and the sons of Aqil and the sons of the Prophet. In this sacred land where history's pages unfold, where the grandson of the Prophet's story is told, Ali al-Akbar, brave and young, met his fate, cut to pieces, a tragic and somber state. Here the newborn of Imam Hussein, so pure, struck by an arrow and innocence demure. This land where Qasim with valor stood tall, met his untimely end answering the call. This is the land where Imam Hussein did bleed, where his body massacred a mournful creed. Horses trampled upon his sacred form. In this land a tragedy that will forever inform. The ribs of Imam Hussein with courage bore a heavy burden, his faith he swore. The sacred land bore witness to this tragic display, as the horses wild and frantic lost their way. Innocent bodies crushed, their spirits set free. A haunting scene, a tragedy for all to see. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة لأهل التقوى واليقين. أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد. Brothers, هلا بيكم تزوروني كم تعرفوني شفيع الكون أساميكم أسجلها أساميكم هلا بيكم يا زواري هلا بيكم هلا يل ما نسيتوا عالوعد تحضر اجيت ولا يهمك لا برد لا حار وحق دمع العقيلة وطبرة الأكبار أحضرك ما أعوفك ساعة المحشر على الموعد أجي يمكم ولا أبعد وأعوفنكم محاميكم وحق حيدر محاميكم هلا بيكم يا زواري هلا بيكم تزوروني أعاهدكم تعرفوني شفيع لكم جواب تزوروني تعرفوني شفيع لكم أساميكم أسجلها أساميكم هلا بيكم يا زواري هلا بيكم يا هل شايل الراية وجاي قاصدني أخبرك رايتك بمن تذكرني بأخويا الطاح جفة وصاح أدركني صحت ويلا يا أخويا والظهر محني كسر ظهري أبو فاضل شيل بعمري مشى الكافل أوصيكم على الراية أوصيكم هلا بيكم يا زواري هلا بيكم تزوروني أعاهدكم تعرفوني شفيع لكم أساميكم أسجلها أساميكم هلا بيكم يا زواري هلا بيكم أساميكم أسجلها أساميكم هلا بيكم يا زواري هلا بيكم يا من قاصد لي والدمعة تجريها أنا أعرف حاجتك مو داعي تحكيها وحق نحر الرضيع الحاجة أقضيها يا زاير عاهدتك العلة أشفيها أخو زينب فرح بيكم هلا ومرحب يناديكم يحييكم أبو الغيرة يحييكم هلا بيكم يا زواري هلا بيكم تزوروني أعاهدكم تعرفوني شفيع لكم
From Karbala, And the thirst wind in Karbala, in Karbala, in Karbala. For heaven is open, Ya Hussein. For angels descending upon Hussein. For they are reciting Karbala from Karbala, Karbala, Karbala to Karbala, Karbala. I left my heart in Karbala, in Karbala, in Karbala. Whenever I remember Hussein, all of the thirst and all of the pain, the ladies who were taken in chains, the truth prevailed in Karbala, in Karbala, in Karbala. The pure heads were mounted on spears, the progeny was shedding their tears. Remember him and your pain disappears. Hussein is the light in Karbala, in Karbala, in Karbala. When will we meet again, Ya Hussein? When under your dome will I breathe again? From Najaf will I walk to Karbala, to Karbala, to Karbala. From Karbala, Karbala to Karbala, Karbala, Karbala. I left my heart in Karbala, in Karbala, in Karbala. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Inshallah, there's a request for dua. The father of Sister Fiza Muluboy, Hassan Ali Jetha, who's a teacher at IHIC, has had a heart attack last night and is undergoing surgery. Let's all make dua for him in this night, this special night of Arba'een, and also for all the mu'mineen and mu'minat who are in need of our du'as, all the sick patients, all the oppressed around the world, and especially for the quick reappearance of our master Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman. We recite Ayah Sharif Ammi Yujib 5 times. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء 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 بجاه محمد وآل محمد وبحرمة الفاتحة مع الصلوات.
Hussein